Hello everyone, welcome back to Genius Knowledge Point, your one place for practical programming solutions for computer and IT students. I am making this video to provide practical knowledge to all students so that you can develop your own programs which will be helpful for your studies as well as career. In this video we will perform practical number 5 of Python programming, which is designed for case scheme of Diploma Computer and IT students, and the semester number is 4. The topic in this video is use of looping statements, and the looping statements are while loop, for loop, nested loop. So in C programming as well as C++ and Java programming, we have seen the types of loop. Multiple loops are available. So what are the loops? So whenever we want to repeat some lines of code again and again, so in that case what we use a loop. So in that loop there are some conditions, that is there is a beginning for the loop, then there is a test condition, and finally there is increment or decrement of particular variable. So according to that conditions the loop execution will perform, and the loop will continue or it will stop. So this is how the loop concept will be, and we have while loop and for loop for this programming, and the nested loops are similar to nested conditions. That is, whenever we create a loop inside one more loop, it is called a nested loop. So whenever we are creating while loop inside another while loop, so it will become a nested while loop. Similarly for loop, if we create a for loop inside another for loop, it will create a nested for loop. So this is how the nested loops will be. So this is how we will perform loop related practicals in this practical number 5. So moving toward the first question, write a Python program that takes a number and checks whether it is palindrome or not. So what is palindrome? In case of number, whenever we take any number and if we reverse the digits of that number, and if we get same number as original number, then it is called a palindrome. So the examples are 1 to 1. So this is a palindrome number because 1 to 1 is having the same number whenever we reverse the digits of that number. Then 4334, this is also one example of palindrome number. So that we have to do in this program. So we have to accept number from the user, then we have to check whether it is palindrome or not. So for that purpose we will use a loop here. For checking each digits or reversing the digits, we have to use loop here. So directly moving toward the code. So initially I am accepting a number from the user. So for that purpose I am taking one variable, that is number is equal to input, enter a number. So this is the message and it is passed inside input function. So what it will do, it will accept a number from the user whenever user enters any number, and that number will be stored into number variable. But I am not taking integer here, so that's why it will be accepted as a string here. So whenever I am entering any number, for example I am entering 1 to 1, so the number will not be stored as 121. It will be stored as a set of characters, that is 1, 2 and 1. So this is how the string will be accepted, and that will be stored into this number variable. So data type of this number variable is string, which is storing 1 to 1 as a characters. Then I am using one more variable, that is original number is equal to number. So I am just copying the number value into this original number variable. Then I am taking one more variable which is reverse number is equal to blank. So I am taking it as a blank string. So I am using it for creating reverse of that string. Next I am using for loop. So for digit in number, what it will do, it will take a digit variable and it will check every character from this number string. So every time it will run the for loop or it will iterate the for loop, it will take one character or one digit from the number variable, and that will be stored into this digit variable. Next, inside the for loop, what I am doing, I am putting the statement as reverse number is equal to digit plus reverse number. So whenever this loop will run, initially my reverse number is blank string, then is equal to digit. So it will take a digit value which is the first character or first digit from the number, and plus reverse number. So it will attach the reverse number afterwards. So the original reverse number will become the digit plus blank string. So this is how first digit of the number will be taken into this reverse number string. Similarly, on the second iteration, what it will do, it will take a second digit from the number variable and it will attach that digit into this reverse number. So the second digit will be attached to this reverse number. Then similarly the third or the number of times the number is having the digits, that number of times this for loop will continue. Similarly, the all digits will be accepted, but while storing inside this reverse number, the digit is the first variable, so that's why it will be stored as a reverse numbers. This is how the reverse number will be created, and that reverse number will be again in the form of string, and that string is stored into this reverse number. Next, we have to check whether this reverse number is equal to this original number. For that purpose, I am using if condition. So if original number is equal to reverse number, that means both the numbers are same, that means the reverse number and the original number is same, that means the string is or the number is palindrome number. So that's why I am printing the number is palindrome number, and if both are not equal, that means it will print the number is not palindrome number, that is part of else statement. So this is how the if condition is checking whether the original number is equal to reverse number, then it is printing the palindrome. Then if it is not equal, then it will go to else part and it will print the number is not palindrome number. So this is how the output will be generated here according to the input. So saving the code, then copying the entire code. Then to run this program, I am going to PyCharm, then creating a new file, naming it as palindrome, and then pasting the entire code that we have generated inside Notepad++, then running the code here. So it is asking me to enter a number, so I am entering 1221. So it is a palindrome number. Let us check the output. So the output is generated as the number is palindrome number. I am running this program again. This time I am entering another value 568. So the output is generated, the number is not palindrome number. So according to the entered number, the output is properly generated, and it is checking whether the number is palindrome or not, and accordingly the output is displayed here. So this is how this first question is completed. Now the second question is write a program to print all even numbers between 1 to 100 using while loop. So we have to print even numbers from 1 to 100. So we have to start from the number 1 till we have to end up to 100 number, and we have to use a while loop here, and we have to print even numbers only. We don't have to print all the numbers, we just have to print even numbers. So directly moving toward the code. So as I said earlier, so whenever we are using a loop, we have to start or we have to set some beginning value. So for that purpose, I am taking this variable as a num and I am assigning that value as a 1. So this is the beginning of the loop. Next, I am just printing a simple message, even numbers between 1 to 100. So this is just a simple message that will be displayed on the screen. Next, I am using or starting a while loop. We have already started or we have already initialized the num value to 1. So our num value is equal to 1 now. Next, I am using a while loop. So while num is less than is equal to 100. So what is this statement? So the num value will be less than or equal to 100. Till that value, the num value will be considered or the while loop will run. So this is the condition that will be tested every time the while loop iterates. So on the next iteration, it will check the num is less than or equal to 100 or not. Again, it will check on the next iteration num value is less than or equal to 100 or not. So this is how the loop will continue. So this is the test condition, that is the second part of the loop. So this is the test condition that is checking inside this while loop. Then we are starting this while loop using colon. In that, as the question is given, we don't have to print all the numbers, we just have to print even numbers. If I print the numbers directly, what it will do? It will start 1, 2, 3, 4 and similarly it will print up to 100 numbers. But I don't want to print all the numbers, I just want to print even numbers. For that purpose, we have to take one more condition, that will be using if condition. So if num mod 2 is equal to 0. So num is the number value which is inside while loop, and mod 2 means it will take a remainder of this division, and if the division remainder is 0, that means it is even number. So whenever we are dividing any number by 2 and if the division is 0, that means it is even number. So this is the if condition for checking whether the number is even or not. So this is how, if the number divided by 2 is having 0 as a remainder, then we have to print that number, that will be even number only. So this is how I am printing the number using print statement. Then we have to use the final part of the loop, that is increment or decrement. So as we are starting the loop from number 1 and our ending number is 100. So for that purpose we have to use increment here, and we have to increment the number by 1 only. So number plus is equal to 1. So that means number is equal to number plus 1. Automatically number will be incremented by 1 after every loop iteration, and after every loop iteration this condition will be checked. If the condition is matching, then it will go inside the loop, and if the condition becomes false, it will move outside the loop. So this is how the loop will be running inside our program, that we have already seen in C programming to Java programming. So the same concept is applied here. So the coding is complete here. Selecting the entire code, going to PyCharm, then creating new file as E1, then pasting the entire code, then running the code. So after running, you can see the numbers are generated at the bottom. So the even numbers between 1 to 100, that is the message printed here. Then the numbers are started printing from 2, 4, 6, 8. So every time it has printed only even numbers. It has not printed odd numbers because we have put if condition there. So only even numbers are printed accordingly. This is how the even numbers are printed, which are between 1 to 100, and the output is properly generated here. So the question is complete here. Now moving toward the third question, print the following patterns using loop. So there are two patterns given in the question, A and B, and we have already seen such patterns in C programming as well as C++ programming, and also in Java programming. So whenever we are doing pattern like this, we have to divide the region into number of rows and number of columns, and whenever we do such a pattern, we have to use a nested loop. So we will be using nested loop here. So directly moving toward the diagram for question A. So I have divided this grid into number of rows and number of columns. So if you see the 1 0 1 0 1 0 and 1, so this is the first row. Then in the second row, two values are reduced and one space is added here. So this is how we are printing reverse pyramid here. And also we have to print alternate 1 and 0 using some if condition. So this is how the printing will be happening here. So if you see, there are total 4 rows inside this pattern. So first row is having 1 0 1 0 1 0 and 1. Second row is having initial space. So I have printed space here. Then 1 0 1 0 and 1. So these are the numbers printed. So initially total 7 digits are printed. On the second row only 5 digits are printed. Then on the third row 2 spaces are included at the beginning. Then 3 digits are printed only. Then on the last row 3 spaces are included, then only 1 digit is printed. So we have to format our loops according to these rows and column structure. So if you see, there are 4 number of rows. So we will be using I variable for handling number of rows. And if you see, it is a reverse pyramid. So I should start with the maximum value, which is 4. Then it should reduce to 3, then 2, then 1. So this is how the I loop will be, which is the outer loop. Then I am using J loop for printing this ones and zeros. So for that purpose, J value should be starting from 1, and if you see, the first row is having 4 value of the I. So total number of digits are 7. So for that purpose, we have to use this formula, 2 into I minus 1. So for the first row, there will be 7 digits. So how it will generate? So 2 into 4, that is 8 minus 1, 7 digits will be generated. So we have to use this formula for J loop, and I am using K loop for printing spaces. So spaces will be starting from 0 because at the first row there is no space, on the second row there is 1 space, on the third row there is 2 spaces, and on the fourth row there are 3 spaces. So this is how 0 1 2 3, that will be the K value that will be printing spaces. So directly moving to code now. So initially I am taking for loop directly. So for I in range 4 to 0. So why I am taking 4 to 0? Because we have to generate a reverse pyramid. So for that purpose, 4, that is the maximum number, should be starting point and minimum number should be ending point. So 0 is not included, that's why 4 3 2 1. These are the numbers that will be inside I value. And why I am taking minus 1? Because we are decrementing the numbers. So for that purpose, we have to use decrement as a minus 1. So next I am using K loop because we want to print space first. So for K in range 0 to 4 minus I. So initially 4 minus 4, that will be the value of this loop, and 0 to 0, that means k loop will not run here. So there will be no space at the first row. So as we can see in the diagram, there is no space at the first row. So this is how no space will be printed. Then we will move to j loop. For j in range 1, 2 into I. So I am taking 1, 2 into I because j is printing all the ones and zeros. So for that purpose, j should start from 1 till 2 into I. So what is 2 into I? 2 into 4, that is 8. But if you see, the last value is not taken inside our range value. So that's why only 7 values will be taken. So the j loop will run for only 7 times. So this is how the 7 numbers will be printed. But again we have to print alternate zeros and ones. So for that purpose I am using if condition. So if j mod 2 is equal to 0, print 0. And what is this end is equal to blank string. So whenever you want to print the value, if you can use the print function, so what it will do, it will print the value but the cursor will move to next line. And here we don't want to move to the next line because we want to print these digits one after another. So for that purpose we are using this end is equal to blank space. So what it will do, it will not move the cursor to the next line. So the next number will be printed after this 0. So this is how when the j value is even, then the 0 will be printed, and if the j value is odd, then 1 will be printed. So if you see in the diagram, initially j value is 1, so that's why odd number is happening here and 1 will be printed. Then the j value becomes 2, so 0 will be printed, and it will go on printing all the numbers up to 7 value because 8 value is not included inside our range function. So range will be not including the last value, so that's why 1 to 7 times j loop will be executed and it will print the entire numbers. Next, on the second iteration, I value will be reduced to 3. So inside this k loop, 0 to 4 minus 3, that means 0 to 1 value will be taken inside this range and it will print single space. So if you can see in the diagram, single space is printed before j loop. Then after that j loop started. So inside j loop what it is doing, it is taking from 1 to 2 into 3. So 1 to 6 times the loop will run, but 6 is not included, that means 1 to 5 times it will include the value of j, and accordingly the 0 and 1s will be printed according to even and odd numbers. So if you can see, the first value is always 1, so that's why it is printing 1. Then second value is even, that's why printing 0, and similarly it will go on printing. Next, on the third loop, the I value will reduce to 2. So the k loop will print 2 spaces here. You can see inside k loop 0 to 4 minus 2 means 2. So 0 and 1. These two values will be taken inside this k loop and 2 spaces will be printed. Then similarly for j, 1 to 4. So that means 1, 2 and 3 values will be taken. So 3 values will be printed inside this j loop. So 3 numbers are printed here. So 1, 0 and 1 is printed according to if condition and even numbers and odd numbers. Then finally the row value will become, so the I value will become 1. So if you can see inside the k loop, so 0 to 3 times the loop will run. So 0, 1, 2, that will be the value for k, and 3 spaces will be printed. Then for j, 1 to 2. So only one value will be printed here, and that will be only one value. So this is how this pyramid will be printed, which is reverse pyramid, and it is alternating ones and zeros. Then after every I loop, what I am doing, I am using print statement because we want to go to next line. So that's why after completing first I loop, it will go to next line, then it will start I loop again. Then again it will go to next line, then it will start third iteration again. So this is how the print is used for printing next line characters or moving the cursor to next line. So the coding is complete. So selecting entire code, copying the code, going to PyCharm, creating a new Python file, naming it as pattern1, then pasting the code inside this and running the code. So there is nothing accepted from the user, so directly it will print the pyramid. So after running, you can see the output is generated. It is according to the output given in the question. So this is how the A part of the question is completed. Now we will move to the B part. So in B part, what we have to print? We have to print a diamond. So in case of diamond, what we have to do? We have to separate this printing into two parts. So let us move to the diagram again. So this is how the diamond will be printed. Initially we have to print one star, and before that we have to print two spaces. So this is the grid I have divided, and we will be dividing this diamond into two parts. So first pyramid will be the normal pyramid, and the second pyramid will be reverse pyramid with one value less than the above rows. So this is how the diamond will be printed. So initially there are two spaces, then one star is printed. Then on the second row, one space is printed and 3 stars are printed. On the third row, no space is printed and 5 stars are printed. So this is how the first diamond will be, first pyramid will be. And after that, we have to reverse the pyramid. But while reversing, we don't have to include this middle row. So that's why we will be reducing the value by 1. So the number of rows will be less than 1 in the second pyramid, which is reverse pyramid. And initially we are printing one space and 3 stars are printed. Then we are printing 2 spaces and 1 star is printed. So initially the total number of rows inside this structure is 5 rows are there, and we are dividing into two parts. So that's why we will divide it into two parts, as row 1 will be taken as 3 and row 2 will be taken as 2. So row 1 will be this first pyramid and row 2 will be having the rows of second reverse pyramid. So this is how the pyramid will be printed here. So directly moving toward the code. So initially I am taking a row variable and I am assigning it value as a 5. Then I am taking row 1 from this 5 value. So how I am taking this row 1 value? I am dividing the row value by 2, which will be integer division, and I am adding it using 1. So the initial division will be 5 divided by 2, that will be 2 as an integer, plus 1 will be 3. So row 1 value will become 3 and row 2 value will become row minus row 1. So the remaining rows will be inside this row 2. So 5 minus 3 will become 2. So this is how the two rows or two values are divided for two different loops. Next I am using for loop, which is outer for loop. So for I in range row 1. So the I will be having values from 0, 1, 2 and 3 will not be included because the row 1 value is 3. So the I will be having values from 0, 1 and 2. So this is how the 3 rows will be taken here. Then I am using loop for k for printing spaces. So for k in range row 1 minus I minus 1. So initially row 1 value is 3. So 3 minus 0 minus 1. So 3 minus 2 times this k loop will print. So 3 minus 2 means 2. So 2 times spaces will be printed, and these are the 2 spaces printed here. Next we have to print a star here. So for that purpose we will use a j loop. So for j in range 2 into I plus 1. So initial I value is 0. So 2 into 0, that means 0 plus 1. So only one time this j loop will run and it will print only 1 star. So you can see 1 star is printed here. So this is how first iteration is complete for first loop. Then we will move to the second iteration. On second iteration the row 1 will I value will become 1. So row 1, that is 3 minus 1 minus 1. So 3 minus 1 2 and 2 minus 1, that is 1. So k in range 1. So only one space will be printed here. So you can see only one space is printed here, and we have to print 3 stars here. So for that purpose we are going to j loop. So for j in range 2 into 1, so that is 2 plus 1. So it will become 3. So it will run 3 times and 3 stars will be printed. This is how the second iteration is done. Then on the third iteration the value of row 1 will be 3 and I will become 2 here. So 3 minus 2 minus 1. So 3 minus 2 is 1 and 1 minus 1 is 0. So k loop will not run here and it will not print any space. You can see in the diagram there is no space on the third row. So this is how the space will not be printed here. Then we have to print stars here. So for j loop 2 into I. So 2 into 2, that means 4 plus 1, 5 stars will be printed here. So you can see in the diagram 5 stars are printed here. So this is how the first pyramid part is done. Then for the second pyramid we will do the different loop, and we will use a reverse loop here, because the stars are reversed here. So this is the reverse pyramid, it is not a forward pyramid. So again going to second loop, and obviously we have printed next line here using this print inside this I loop. So every time one iteration is done, print statement will move the cursor to next line. Next we are going to second loop. So for I in range row 2. So what is the row 2 value? Row 2 value is row minus row 1. So initially our row value is 5, and from that row 1 value is calculated as 3. So row 2 value will be calculated as 2. So for I in range 2 to 0. So I am taking from 2 to 0 because we want to print pyramid in reverse direction. So it will start from 2 and it will end to 1. It will not end to 0 because 0 is not included here, and as we are decrementing we have to put minus 1 here. So this is the values for I. Then for k in range 0 comma, so it will start from 0, and the second value is row 2 plus 1 minus I. So initial row 2 value is 2, so 2 plus 1, that is 3 minus 2. So 3 minus 2 is 1, so 0 to 1. So one time the space will be printed here. So if you can see in the diagram, only one space is printed here, and we have to print 3 stars. So for that purpose we will go to J loop. So for J in range 2 into I minus 1. So initially my I value is 2, so 2 into 2, 4 minus 1, that is 3 stars will be printed here. So using print statement I am printing 3 stars, then attaching end to move the next character. Then first iteration will be ended with print, so it will move to the next line. So the first row is printed, then it will move to second line, then in the second line again the I value will become from 2 to 1 it will become. So next for k in range 0 to row plus 1. So row 2 value is 2, 2 plus 1, that is 3 minus 1, that is 2. So 2 times this k loop will run and it will print 2 spaces here. So inside the diagram 2 spaces are printed, and finally we have to just print 1 star using J loop. So inside J loop what I have done, 2 into I, so the I value is 1 now. So 2 into 1, that is 2, and minus 1 is 1. So one time only this J loop will print, and it will print single star only. Then this is how the loop will be ended, because the row 2 value is 2. So the I value will be from 2 to 1 only. It will not include the 0 here. So this is how the reverse pyramid is printed using this second for loop, and the normal or forward pyramid is printed using this first for loop. So this is how this coding is complete. Then I am selecting the entire code, copying the code, going to PyCharm, creating new file as pattern 2 and pasting the entire code here. So to run this code I am clicking on this run button. You can see the pyramid is, or the diamond is properly printed. The first pyramid is printed, which is upward pyramid, and the second pyramid is printed, which is downward pyramid. So this is how the output is generated. Now if you slightly change this value, you can see the output will be generated as a different diamond, but still it will work in any odd number. So I am running this program again. You can see another diamond is printed, which is having 7 rows. So this is how the second pattern is also printed, which is given in the question. So initially the 5 rows are given, so I am running this program. So 5 rows are printed and the diamond is properly printed. So in this program, if you change this row number to any odd number, it will print the diamond accordingly. So this is how the second part of the third question is also completed. So we have printed both the pyramids and second question as a diamond properly. Now the fourth question is change the following Python code from using a while loop to for loop. So the while loop and for loop are very similar, just there is a change in the syntax of those loops. So for that purpose, the question is given using while loop, so we have to convert that into for loop. So the output should remain same. So what is given in the question, x is equal to 1. So this number is set as a 1 initially. So this is the initialization of variable of the loop, that is x variable. Then while condition is taken. So while x is less than 10. So this is the condition inside a while loop. Then the print statement is there, so it will print the x value, that is the number that is inside x. Then finally increment is there, so x plus 1 is the increment value. So this is how all these three parts of the loops are separate inside while loop. But in case of for loop, all the parts are in single statement. So let us move to the code directly. So as given in the question, our x should start with the 1 value. So the syntax of for loop is, for we have to specify the variable. So any variable you can specify. In our case the variable is x. Then after that you have to specify in, and after that you have to specify range. So I am putting range as 1, 10. So why I am putting 1, 10? Because our variable x is starting from value 1. So I have to start the variable with 1 value. Then the ending point is 10. So if you see the question, x is less than 10. So 10 is not included inside x. It is not x is less than or equal to 10. So it is just x is less than 10. So that's why we don't have to include 10 here. Similarly inside for loop, whenever we put range after in, so the last value is not taken. And the third part is increment value. So by default every for loop is having increment value as 1. So whenever we are starting 1 and we are ending at 10, after that we have to put increment or decrement value. So if you are putting 1, that means it is incremented by 1, and if you want to reverse the loop, then you have to put -1. But by default 1 is present here, so I am not putting the third parameter here. So this is how the range is taken here. So 1 to 9 values will be taken for x, because the last value is not taken here. So the 1 to 9 numbers will be stored into x, and I am just using print statement to print x value. So this is how the output will be generated, as 1 to 9 numbers will be printed here. So we have converted the while loop into for loop. So the coding is complete. So just selecting the code, going to PyCharm, then creating a new file. So naming the file as for loop, then pasting the entire code and running the code. The output is generated. The number has started printing from 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the last number is 9. 10 is not printed here because 10 is not included inside range. So that's why it has printed up to 9. And even inside our question, the output will be printed up to 9 only. So this is how the numbers are printed. We have converted while loop into for loop, and this question is complete here. Now moving toward the fifth question, write a program to reverse a given number. So in the question number 1, we have already seen how to reverse a number, because in that question we have done a palindrome program. So what we have done here, so we have accepted a number from the user, then we have created reverse of that number, and we have checked that number with the reverse value with the original number. And in that case, if the value is matching, that means the number is palindrome, and if it is not matching, that means the number is not palindrome. But in that case, we have used the number as a string. We have not used the number as a actual numerical value. So that's why it is not a reliable method, or it is not a good method to create a reverse of the number. So we will see another method of creating reverse, where we will actually get a reverse of that number, and the value will be in the integer format only. So directly moving toward the code. So initially I am taking one variable, that is num is equal to int, then using input function and writing a message as enter a number. So this message will be displayed, and as soon as the user enters any number, it will be accepted in the form of string, and using int it will be converted to integer value. So num is integer variable. Now next I am using one more variable, that is reverse num is equal to 0. So initially I am assigning that value as a 0, then I am using while loop. So while num is greater than 0, so this is the condition that will be tested every time the iteration will perform. So while number is greater than 0, then I am using one more variable inside while loop, that is reminder. So rem, that is my reminder variable, is equal to num mod 10. So I am calculating reminder of that number, and that value will be stored into rem variable. So this is the reminder. Now next I am using formula of reverse number is equal to reverse number into 10 plus reminder. So I am multiplying the reverse number. So it is initially 0, so 0 into 10, that will be 0, plus reminder, so the value of the reminder will be calculated here. So this is how the reminder value will be inside reverse number in first iteration. Next I am using num is equal to num divided by 10. So in Python we already know that there are two division operators. So first one is forward, single forward slash, so it will divide the numbers but it will generate a float value, and we don't want float value here, so that's why I am using second division operator, that is double forward slash. So this time it will generate integer value, so it will divide the number by 10 and the division will be stored into number again. Next the same number will be passed inside this num variable and it will be tested again for this condition, and similarly this loop will repeat, and finally we will get a reverse number that will be stored into this reverse num variable, and finally I am printing this. This is how the operation will perform. So to check the output we have to test some conditions here. So I am assuming num as 1 2 3, so I am taking num value is equal to 123. So initially my number variable is 123, so it will be passed inside this while loop and it is greater than 0. So 123 is greater than 0, that means it will go to first iteration. So inside first iteration what will happen, the remainder will be calculated. So remainder will be equal to number mod 10. So if you divide this number by 10 you will get remainder as 3. So my remainder is 3 for first iteration. Then reverse number, so reversed underscore num will be calculated as reverse number into 10. So initially my reverse number value is 0. So 0 into 10 means 0 plus remainder. So it will become 0 plus remainder value is 3. So it will become 3 only. So this is how my reverse number is 3 for first iteration. Next I am doing num is equal to num divided by 10. So num is equal to number value is originally 123 and it is divided by 10. So if you divide this number by 10 the division will be happening and only 12 will be the output, because only integer value will be taken here because of this double forward slash operator. So num is now 12 for second iteration. So we will go to second iteration. Now num value is 12. So next again remainder will be calculated. This time num value will be taken as 12. So 12 divided by 10. So the remainder will be calculated as 2 only. Next the reverse number underscore num will become reverse number into 10. So our previous reverse number value is 3. So 3 into 10, that will be 30 plus remainder is calculated as 2. So the output will become 32. So this is how the second iteration reverse number value will be 32. Similarly it will go for third iteration, and before that the number will be divided by 10. So our original number is now 12 and it is divided by 10. So num will become 1 only for third iteration. So again the third iteration will perform, because num is greater than 0, 1 is greater than 0, that means it will go inside the while loop. Again remainder will be calculated. So remainder will become now num mod 10. So remainder will become 1 only. Then reversed num, again it will be calculated using this formula reverse num, that is our taken from the previous iteration, that is 32. So it will be taken as 32 into 10 plus remainder is 1. So 32 into 10 is 320 and plus 1 will become 321. So this is how the reverse number will be for third iteration. Again it will be divided by 10. So 1 divided by 10, that means it will be having 0 division. So the number will become 0 and again it will be passed to the next iteration. But while this time the number value is 0 and 0 is greater than 0, it is not satisfying. So that's why we will come out of the while loop. And this is how the last reverse number value from the last iteration will be taken, and that value is 321, which is reverse of this original number which was 123. So this is how we are getting actual number here inside this program, and the same value is printed using this print statement, reverse number and comma reverse number. So attaching the reverse number variable value, so the output will be displayed here properly. So this is how the program will be done here. So I am just selecting entire code, copying the code, going to PyCharm. So inside PyCharm I am creating new file new Python file, then naming it as reverse, and pasting the entire code here. So running the code now, it is asking me to enter a number, so I am entering 236. So the reverse is generated now, that is 632, so which is reverse of the original number we have entered. So this is how the reverse is done here, and the actual number is generated here. It is not just generated as a string. In palindrome program we have accepted number as a string, as a one digit separately, and all those digits we have reversed using string functions. But in this program we have actually generated a reverse of the number using integer value. So this is how this question is ended here. Now moving toward the sixth question, write a Python program to find factorial of given number. So we have already generated factorial related programs in C programming, C++ programming and Java programming. So the same concept will be applied here. We just have to take a loop, and in that loop we have to take a particular number accepted from the user, and using that number we will be multiplying that number with its previous values. So the loop will happening like that. So directly moving toward the code. So initially we have to accept a number from the user. So for that purpose I am taking num as a integer variable. Then using int input, enter a non-negative integer. So why it is generated as non-negative integer? Because we don't have to accept negative integer. Otherwise it is not possible to calculate the factorial. For that purpose I have entered a message like that. Then this int will convert that accepted value into integer format. So num is my integer variable now. Next I am using one more variable, that is factorial. So actual factorial will be calculated in this variable, and for that purpose I have to assign it as a 1, because we are multiplying that value again and again. So our initialization should start with 1. So next I am using if condition. If num is less than 0, so if the number is negative, then we have to print a message factorial does not exist for negative number. So for that purpose I am taking this condition, num is less than 0. Next I am using elif. So else if num is equal to 0. So if the number value is equal to 0, the factorial of 0 is 1, that will be printed. Next, if both the values are not inside number, then we will go to else part. So in that else, what I am doing, I am using a for loop, and in that I am taking for I in range. I am starting from 1 and comma num plus 1. Why I am using num plus 1? Because the last value is not taken. So if you put num only here, so it will not take the number, actual number. So it will just generate factorial up to number minus 1. So we don't want that. So for that purpose I am taking num plus 1, and in that for loop what I am doing, factorial is equal to factorial into I. So initially the factorial value is 1, so 1 into I, that is 1, will be generated, and that value will be stored into factorial. Next, for the next loop the I value will be increased, that is 2. So the factorial will become 1 into 2. Similarly, for the third iteration, factorial will become 1 into 2 into 3, and so on. It will continue till the number value is there inside this for loop. So this is how the entire numbers from 1 till that number will be multiplied, and that value will be stored into this factorial variable, and this is how the factorial will be generated. So the factorial is done here. Next I am just printing the message, that is factorial is, and attaching factorial variable value. So this is how factorial will be generated. So just copying the entire code, going to PyCharm, creating a new file here and naming it as fact, then pasting the code and running the code now. So it is asking me to enter a non-negative integer, so I am entering 5 now. So after entering 5, the value generated as factorial is 120, which is a right output. The factorial of 5 is 120 according to mathematics, and the output is generated properly using for loop, and the factorial is properly generated here. So this is how this question is also completed. Now the next question is write a Python program to find Fibonacci series for given number. So we have already seen Fibonacci series from C programming till Java programming. So the same Fibonacci series we have to print here, and for that purpose we have to accept a number of terms from the user. So whenever a number enters 8, so that means it has to print, or program has to print 8 terms of the Fibonacci series. So for explanation I will just show you the how Fibonacci series is. The first 8 terms of Fibonacci series will be So Fibonacci series will always start from 0, 1, or it can start with 1 and 1. So if it is starting from 0, then 0 and 1 will be first two terms, then the third term will be calculated as addition of previous two terms. So next number will be 1, then the next number will be calculated as addition of previous two numbers. So 1 plus 1 will be 2. So next number will be calculated as 1 plus 2, that is 3. Then next number will be 2 plus 3, 5. Then next number is 5 plus 3, 8. The next number is 5 plus 8, 13. So these are the first 8 terms of Fibonacci series. Similarly, it will go on adding the previous two terms and it will generate the next number accordingly. So this is how the Fibonacci series will continue till the number is given from the user. So this is how the 8 terms will be printed. So if you want to print first 7 terms, it will be printed from 0 to 8 only. So this is how the first 7 terms will be. So this is how the Fibonacci series we have to generate. So directly moving toward the code now. So initially I am accepting number of terms. So for that purpose I am taking variable as num underscore terms is equal to int input. Enter the number of the terms for the Fibonacci series. So how many terms we want to print, that will be accepted from the user, and that value will be taken as string and converted into integer and stored into this variable. Next I am using two more variables, that is fno, that is my first number, and assigning that value as a 0, then sno and assigning that value as 1. So these are the two variables which are assigned initially. Next I am taking if condition. If number of terms is less than or equal to 0, I am printing please enter positive integer. So because the positive integers can only generate Fibonacci series, so that's why we have to generate the message like this. So if the number is less than 0, that means it is negative, it is not possible to generate Fibonacci series. Next I am using else if, that is elif is equal to elif number of terms is equal to 1, then I am printing Fibonacci series and attaching fno value. So why I am attaching fno value? Because fno is 0, so only one term will be printed, that will be initial number which is 0. Next I am using else part. So else I am printing Fibonacci series, that is the simple message printed, then I am printing fno, then again printing sno. So first number and second number will be printed separately, which are 0 and 1 respectively. So 0 and 1 will be separately printed. After that we have to print the other numbers using our loop statement. So for that purpose I am taking a loop for I in range 2 comma number of terms. So already we have printed 0 and 1. So remaining 6 terms only we have to print. So if you start from the 2 and if we suppose the number of terms are 8, so 2 to 7 will be considered, and these are the 6 numbers only. So 6 number of times this loop will repeat and 6 numbers will be printed only, because we have already printed 0 and 1. So that's why we are reducing the count by 2 here. So in that for loop what I am doing, I am calculating tno, which is another variable, is equal to fno plus sno. So it will calculate the addition of previous two numbers, that is 0 and 1. So for first iteration the numbers will be 0 and 1. So the third number will be calculated as 1 and it is printed as a tno. So it will be printed in front of the user. So third number is printed now. Next I am using fno is equal to sno and sno is equal to tno. So the value from sno, that is second number, will be copied into fno and value from third number will be copied into sno. So my fno will become 1 now and sno will become 1 again. So both the numbers are 1 now. Again it will go inside the loop and third number will be calculated as 1 plus 1, which is 2. So third number will become 2 and it will be printed using this print statement. Next again first number will become second number will become third number. So first number will be 1 now and second number will be 2 now. So the next time addition will be 1 plus 2, so it will become 3. So it will be printed, and similarly the numbers will print according to loop statement. So this is how every time the third number will be calculated using these previous two numbers, and that addition will be printed as third number, and similarly the output will be printed here. So this is how the series will be printed and it will be displayed in front of the user. So to run this program I am just selecting all, copying the code, going to PyCharm, creating new file, then naming it as Fibo, then pasting the code inside this file and running the code. So after running, it is asking me to enter the number of terms for the Fibonacci series. So I am entering 8 now, as we have seen in our example. So after entering 8, it has generated the Fibonacci series as 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8 and 13. So according to our example, the output is properly generated. To check another output, I am running this program again, and this time I am entering 10 as a number. So you can see 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13. So these are the 8 terms, and additionally 2 terms are printed here, which is 21 and 34, which is addition of previous 2 numbers properly. So this is how the Fibonacci series properly printed here, and this question is complete now. Now the last question is find sum of 4-digit number. So what we have to do, the question is not properly given here. So I am assuming the meaning as the user has to enter 4-digit number and we have to generate the sum of all the digits of that number. So this is the meaning that I am assuming and creating question program accordingly. So what we have to do, we have to accept a number from the user which is 4-digit number, and we have to generate the addition of all the digits of that 4-digit number. So directly moving toward the code. So in reverse program, we have already created programming like this, but in that program what we have done, we have created a reverse of that number. So instead of creating reverse, we will be using sum here. So what I am doing, initially I am taking number as a variable which will be accepting the number from the user. So using num is equal to int input enter 4-digit number. So this is the message, and the number will be accepted into this num variable in integer format. Next I am using digit sum as a variable, and I am assigning that value as a 0. So 0 is the initial value for this variable. Next I am using while loop. So while num is greater than 0, again I am using reminder variable. So reminder is equal to num mod 10. So it will separate the last digit from the original 4-digit number. Then I am using digit sum variable is equal to digit sum plus reminder. The initial value is 0, so 0 plus reminder will be the addition of that reminder will be stored into this digit sum. Next again using num is equal to num divided by 10. So the number will be divided by 10 and the last digit will be removed from the original number. So this is how the loop will continue, and we will get digit sum using this formula or using this loop. So this is how the digit sum will be storing the final sum, and I am just printing that using sum of digits and attaching digit sum value. So the same reverse logic is applied here, just I am not generating reverse here, I am calculating digit sum. So to see the output, let us assume one number. So suppose the number variable is storing 5, 6, 7, 8 as a initial value, which is 4-digit number. So we will go to first iteration, number is greater than 0. So inside loop what we will do, we will calculate reminder. So reminder will be calculated as reminder is equal to num mod 10. So if you divide this number by 10, the reminder will be 8 only. So this is the reminder value. Then digit underscore sum value will be calculated as digit sum, which is originally 0 plus 8 will be added here. So reminder plus digit sum, so 0 plus 8 will be added. Next number is divided by 10, so num value will become, the 8 will be removed, so num value will become 567. So this number will be passed to second iteration, and this digit sum will be passed to second iteration. So moving toward the second iteration, reminder will be calculated as 7 only because this number will be taken. Then digit underscore sum will be calculated as previous value is 8 plus 7 will be taken, so it will become 15. Next number will become, the last digit will be removed from the previous iteration, so number will become 56 only. So this is the digit sum for second iteration, which is 15, and number value is 56, which will be passed to third iteration. For third iteration, remainder will be calculated as 6 only. Then digit underscore sum will be calculated as previous value, which is 15 plus 6, so it will be calculated as 21. Then number will be reduced to 5 only. So this is how the number is becoming 5. So moving toward the fourth iteration. So in fourth iteration, the remainder will become 5 only. Then digit underscore sum will be taken as 21 plus 5, so which will become 26, and the number will be calculated as 0, because when the 5 is divided by 10, the division will be having 0 value only. So for next iteration, the number will be taken as 0, which is not greater than 0, so we will come out of while loop, and the last value or the last iteration value of digit sum will be taken as the actual sum, which is 26. So according to the loop, the value is properly generated and the output is right. So this is how the sum is generated. So to run this program, we just have to copy the entire code. So before that, I have just erasing the entire value. So selecting all, copying the code, moving toward the PyCharm, creating a new file as a sum digits, then pasting the entire code here and running the code. So entering the number as 5678. After entering, the sum of digits is generated, which is 26, which is right output. So if you count the addition of these digits, you will get 26 as the answer. So this is how this question is completed, and also practical number 5 is completed, which was regarding using loops. So we have used while loop as well as for loop. Then nested loop is also used here for creating pattern related programming, and this is how this practical is ended here. So that's it for today's practical. I hope you understand the program clearly. If you found this video useful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel for more such programming solutions, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a new video. If you have any doubts or need solutions for other programs, drop a comment below. I will be happy to help. Thanks for watching and happy coding.